हाँ 19 में बता दें कि ये भी ये सिचुएशन कैसी है। ठीक है ठीक है ठीक है, कोई नहीं, 5-7 मिनट में हो जाएगा। ओके ओके।
It's going live now, is it?
Yes, sir. We are live now.
All right.
Yes, sir. We are live now.
Hi, Mr. Mrinal. Good afternoon, everybody. And I suppose we have finally been able to hit the green button to make it live. And good afternoon, all of you. And Mr. Mrinal, good afternoon to you. And we would be basically spending a few minutes and then trying to get the messages. Are the messages coming here? Can we just check the messages? If we can have a message reaching us so that there are some queries that we can also take. Is the message coming to you, Mr. Mrinal?
Not yet.
Not yet. So just see that the message also is live. Mr. Saurabh, can you send me a message and see if this whole thing is going live now, which has got messages also coming?
Yes, sir.
Ankit is there. So I suppose, is it going live now?
It's live, and then we can see the comments as well.
All right. So let me see. All right. I think it is going as. So let's start the discussion. I mean, I think the discussion that we are having here is going to give you a broad outline about the whole thing and what is this interview all about and how this mental makeup has to be done. And above all, if there are some questions which we can take up here and then answer them. And Mr. Mrinal, I've requested him to give his own expert views on his own experience of the interview. I think what we basically now to tell you here is that first is the orientation. Second, we'll talk about some tools of the interview. And then what kind of preparation that you should be having, and then some questions if you have got, we'd like to take that also. Mr. Mrinal, before I proceed further about this orientation, do you have anything to add, please?
Basically, the flow that you will be taking through the basic contours of the interview guidance preparation, and then what all the aspirants need to do. And then I'll try to add some personal touch to it, that how it all happened for me over the period of 3 interviews. And based on that, what I learned, what are the mistakes, what all we need to do. I'll try to make it more personal for all the aspirants. So yeah, that is how we're going to go ahead.
All right. So let's first tell you one thing. I mean, as you have gone through this preparation journey, I would imagine that for PT, you would find that there were I should say, the same question which was asked to everybody. I mean, that was one thing that you have got same CSAT, same GS, everybody had. So I think you were compared across the same question. And that's what we had more or less. If I just exclude the 500 marks of optional, for the essay paper and for GS paper of mains, everybody is being assessed on the same parameters or the same questions that we have got. But then when it comes to interview, not only the you are special, you're different, the questions are different, even the boards are different. So in a way, you are not compared across anybody else. You are compared across your own self. So it is a very unique level of entire exam that you have got when you're competing with your own self. And then if you are competing with your own self, uh, it's better that you start preparing in that manner only. That you have to find your better version every single evening before you sleep. So something has to be done on yourself because you are going to compete with your self which got up in the morning and the one that is going to sleep. So the questions are going to be different. And then, as I keep telling them, the questions which UPSC members ask, they know the answer. They're not probably interested as much in the answer. They're interested in you, the person. So you have to be very careful. And while you are delivering, you should not miss out this basic aspect that you, your mind, your personality, your whole range of existence is in focus. In fact, what you have got, like the demand, as I would say, is very different here. One would imagine that there is an intellectual demand, there is moral demand, moral contours, there is also a factual demand, and then all of this is resting on a platform, and that platform is of articulation. How will you have been able to articulate? Will get them an idea what kind of person you are, what kind of moral contours that you have got, what kind of intellectual and factual information that you have got. So I suppose for the preparation of this, you have to be very careful about this articulation aspect of it, because quite often you say something and somebody else is understanding something else. So this articulation has been an important part of the total preparation, and a lot of time people spend so much of their time in collecting information. थोड़ा और ये भी पढ़ लेते हैं, थोड़ा वो भी इकट्ठा कर लेते हैं. Let me read this also, read me that also, and then at the time of interview, while these informations, and I keep telling all the time, whatever fact that you're collecting has got 1 upon a trillion chance of being asked. But if you have got the skill of articulation, when you can possibly express yourself well, I suppose that is 1 upon 1 chance of being used in an interview room. And I keep telling a student all the time that you have got 20, 25, 30 minutes of interview. That's on the higher side, one can imagine. Uh, for you, it is not all the time. Quite possibly, if you look at the time that you are given to speak, I mean, some time goes into protocol, coming in, going out, greeting, sitting, comforting, and you get about 12 minutes to speak because they will ask questions. You get 13 minutes to speak. If you're lucky to, then probably you get 14, 15 minutes to speak. Otherwise, I think you sometimes you get less than whatever, and you realize the importance of articulation here. When you got 12, 13 minutes to speak, I think you can imagine that every single second how much value it carries. So unless you are very clear about that, you have to be you will be like beating around the bush, and then may not be giving you the thing which they basically need. So articulation is one thing I always keep talking about. And for articulation, which is a skill, like writing is a skill that you did in mains examination, and all of you who are going for interview, they all have mastered that skill of writing better than several thousands, several hundred thousands who could not clear PT and then could not clear mains. So you definitely have got good articulation, good information base. Now, spoken thing, articulation in textual form that you've done, articulation in spoken form has to be done. And then for that, internalizing the demand of the question. Let's say if the question is asked to you have to mentally, I mean, you create a cognitive architecture on which you can possibly have the edifice of your answer resting. And then to make it very simple, cognitive architecture, I would imagine, you see that how many parts are there in the question. You should see that what is the keyword that they have got. You should also see that what is the command that they have got. You should also see that what is the tense in which they have asked. Let me give a simple example. Uh, uh, why India has not been able to diversify the rural economy and how far the current initiatives of technology has made it possible. So look at this question, it's got two parts. One part goes for the past tense, and the second part is talking about the present thing. Maybe they can ask you, and what is your suggestion to make it more diverse economy in rural areas? So it is having tense, it is having parts, it is having command word. Command word can be how, why, tell me, give your opinion, the different commands that you have got the question. So you have to have a cognitive architecture that I'm going to build my answer on this, and that is very important. And I would like you to do this, as I call it, as situational drill. You should practice it as many times, as often as you possibly can. And this situational drill, I would say, is that you should try having the same question spoken in 15 seconds, spoken in 30 seconds, spoken in 45 seconds. And mind learns as to how to expand or contract a particular idea. I think this is very important. And in fact, most of you will not find it exciting to do it. मन नहीं करेगा, लगेगा कि कुछ और फैक्ट्स इकट्ठे कर ले इतने टाइम में, थोड़े से और क्या पता ये पूछ ले, इसको भी इकट्ठा कर ले. But I am telling you, each and every fact that you're collecting at this stage, they are going to be 1 upon a trillion chance of being asked. But articulation करते हैं, and I think I would recommend that you do some, वो है ना concept of habit stacking. Habit stacking कर लो आप. Habit stacking करने का, you just identify that I have to speak for that many minutes after doing this. Let's say you're having a morning tea. After morning tea, I'd like to do this exercise for this much. Or maybe at 2 o'clock, I mean, I do this or whatever. I just attach to some habit. If I collect some information on a particular thing, I'll make 5 questions on this and speak on that, which is very, very vital, which is important. I think a lot of people do not do it. And एक और चीज मिस्टर मृणाल, I like to tell you, I'm sure you have gone through it, you know it yourself. A lot of time I find that ये एक imposter syndrome भी होता है. अरे मैं तो पता नहीं कितने मेंस में आए होंगे, मुझे क्वेश्चन छूट गया था मेरा. Come on, I mean, this is one time you have to basically back yourself up. Don't be caught into imposter syndrome. You deserve it to be there. And then I told you that you're competing with your own self. And if you're talking about your own self not being too good, how would others would appreciate you if you can't appreciate yourself? So you have to come out of that. और मैं हमेशा एक हिंदी में एक वर्ड बोलता हूँ इनको हमेशा कि आप वहां जाने रहे बुलाए गए हैं. If you can internalize this line, gives goosebumps. You're so young, a constitutional body has invited you to celebrate your success of mains. Don't you think it's big enough? Come out of that imposter syndrome. Don't bite your कि मेरे को ये पूछ दिया, मुझे ये नहीं आता होगा, मुझे ये नहीं आता होगा. At this stage, I like all of you to commit on the front foot. If you use the terminology of cricket, commit on the front foot. I think you are worth it. You can do it, and you deserve to be there. And in fact, जो मैं habit stacking कह रहा था, एक और भी टेक्निक है. स्टडी साइलोइंग इज द टेक्निक. आप बना लो कि उस चेयर पर जब मैं बैठूंगा तो 5 मिनट बोलूंगा, उस कॉर्नर में जब जाऊंगा उस खिड़की के पास जाऊंगा तो जस्ट कनेक्ट दोस थिंग्स. आई मीन आर्टिकुलेशन की प्रैक्टिस करनी पड़ेगी. एंड देन यू हैव टू बेसिकली रिकॉर्ड इट, ऑडिट इट, no matter how much of comment that you get from Dr. Khan or for that matter any panel. मैंने बहुत इंटरव्यू किए हैं, and I think probably the longest anybody can imagine having done in the country. But मुझे इतना पता है कि the advices which I give you will go through multiple filters. But when you watch your own videos and say like मुझे तो ये भी बोल सकता था, मैं इस पर मैं ये भी बोल सकती थी, I could have spoken on this in this manner. Oh, this is the point I missed out. How would I ever know that you had that point? Never. So please watch your own videos, audit them, audit them, audit their sound, audit the video, body language, and audit also uh, demand supply. And then most important, ask yourself, is it my best performance or not. And then I'm sure they would definitely would improve much better. But otherwise क्या होता है, अभी इतने advices मिलते हैं, and they're all well wishers of yours. They're giving you advice in the with the right intention. But ultimately, what has happened is that when they're giving their advices, आपके अंदर एक clutter हो जाता है advice का. In fact, I would like you to give uh, advices for two kind of hygiene at this stage that you must maintain. एक तो काउंसलिंग हाइजीन, ये इससे बहुत पोल्यूशन हो जाता है. जितने जगह आप जाते हैं, जितने जगह लोग बोलते हैं, जितने मेरे जैसे लोगों से मिलते हैं, each one of them have got something to contribute, and then this mind gets so much polluted. So have a counseling hygiene. I mean, you maintain a hygiene कि ये मुझे लेना है, ये नहीं लेना है. किसी ने कुछ भी दे दिया, सब कुछ नहीं ले लेना. That will pollute your personality, and that's what I don't want. You must have this counseling hygiene. और एक और hygiene में I like mentioning is sleep hygiene. सुनने में थोड़ा अजीब लगता है, but then more rest you give to it. I mean, it really reboots and then produces much better outcome. So I think this counseling hygiene and sleep hygiene must be maintained during this period. While you are stressed, stakes are big. I know that nobody wants to give PT again. You don't want to go through the entire process again. But then I suppose if you're giving your mind a rest, I promise it can produce much better. But I think I would like you to also mention that while you are preparing for this, we have got a series of um, blogs are there on the KSG website, and then we also have got lots of small videos I keep uploading every day, which gives you some insights about it. But then I would like you to remember that you should prepare for your uh, two set of orientation. एक तो self का orientation और एक demand side का orientation. Let me tell you about the self orientation क्या होता है. Self orientation is like, I mean, you have clarity of the entries of DAF, and if you don't have some information which is coming to your mind, you should not worry too much. Then also, you should have clarity about your speech, and then you're coming out with the best version of yourself, and that you have reconfirmed by watching your own video several times. एक ही क्वेश्चन को आपने बोला, रिकॉर्ड किया, फिर सुना और सोचा कि इसमें और क्या बेटर कर सकते हैं, then you speak again. You find a better version. I told you in the beginning, you are this time specifically competing with your own self. There's no common question, there's no common interview. That's a very different level of preparation that you have got. You can't really prepare across people as you had in the earlier case. I suppose ये आपकी अकेले की जंग है, and then you have to basically fight it out. Then also, you have to prepare for the orientation of UPSC and the interviewer. And when I say UPSC and the interviewer, UPSC syllabus has given you certain markers, like they will be checking you for critical power of assimilation, mental alertness, clear and logical exposition, balance of judgment. I'm sure all of you have read that small explanation they have given in the Gazette about the expectation that they want to have from you in the interview. So please look into that. And that's one thing I would like to have. And also, try the understanding of the expectation of the interviewer who come from the mainstream is not held by the syllabus so much as was the case in mains examination. So, I mean, you should go to the websites of the mainstream channels like Doordarshan, BBC, etc. You should go for the mainstream journals which are sold at the railway platform and the bus stands, like Outlook, and don't have to buy and read them. You have to go to the websites. Also, you have to go to the mainstream newspapers which are sold maximum. Go to the website and pick up information. This way, your mind will be mainstream, and then I would like you to basically have them collected, and then they would be a very good source for guiding you with respect to your uh, I would imagine questions which they are asking, because those people who are taking your interview, they are basically in contact with these items. In fact, I would also like to advise that a few exercises that is recommended that you should be doing. Like, for example, you should be doing exercises of contraction and expansion. I mean, the same question you speak for uh, 30 seconds, and the same question you should try and speak for 1 minute, 1.5 minutes, and see how you are able to do that. Also, you should do some loud reading. Loud reading is a very simple exercise, but clears your diction, but gives you an idea of the control of the words that you are speaking. Also, I would like you to do the practice of precision speaking. Precision speaking is 30 seconds that you should be speaking on a particular issue, and see that you're able to uh, convey it or not. And then also, I would like you to do audit of your own videos that you have got. In fact, lots of audits you can do. I told you that one is auditory audit. Just listen to the sound and see that are you speaking too fast or too slow? Are you having some slangs being used? Yeah, yep, are being used or not? Or you can also see that when you are speaking, are you starting with the main core or not? This kind of auditory audit can be done. Then also you can do the video audit. Video audit would be like you would see that are you having good energy in speech or not, or are you looking tense, are you smiling enough or not. I mean, I think those kind of video audit. Then you do the demand supply audit, structure audit. Then you can see that am I having something special effect in my answer or not. So a lot of audits that I would like you to do. And I think you would also see that am I committing some kind of sins or not. That there can be uh, lots of sins they commit in the answers. Like for one sin is that suboptimal consumption of time, speaking, not answering. Another sin can be like getting into arguments with them. I mean, I keep telling it's okay to go logical, bit of argumentative, but not never persuasive. So is there something which can somebody be hurt about? And then like issues on some matters like they are touchy, so you have to be a little bit, I would say, guarded and hedged speech that you have got or not. And I think I would like you to tell you certain tools. Of course, this platform does not allow me to go very specific, but general tools I can possibly give you at this stage that you can uh, keep in mind. One is that uh, for effective articulation, you should have an anchor statement and templating technique that you should be using for structuring your answer. Like, for example, if you have got a question being asked that how we can diversify the rural economy. I mean, you can see that how is the command word, rural economy is the keyword, tense is the future tense that they're asking. You could possibly make an anchor statement. There are multiple ways we can diversify the rural economy, sir. And then you can go for giving the answers. And then for that, you can possibly use some, uh, I think system thinking, where you can possibly go for numerical templates like number one, number two, number three, or you can go for some thematic templates like administratively this can be done, technologically this can be done, geographically this can be done, like that. Also, you can from demand supply side you can talk about, and that way, I mean, there are different templates, and then start ensuring that you have got some concluding remark also given at the same. Also, I think when you are answering, there's another very beautiful thing I like to see is that you have mastered the art of engineered silence. I'm sure you've noted that I paused for a few seconds. And then when pausing for a few seconds was just to draw your attention that you understand the word engineered silence. The pause is very, very important. This shifts the mind of the interviewer from giving the question to receiving the answer. And for you also, listening the question to speaking the answer. And there is a shift for the listener also and for the speaker also. And that gap is very, very important. And then that will take you beyond your rote approach of replying. I mean, I think that's something which I like you to do that. Also, you should be having some technique that breadcrumbing technique they call it, or like the DAF baits. You should be having enough information on that, and I think that really helps you. Also, uh, intellectual and emotional velocity management is another aspect that I like to tell you, that like sometimes we get carried by our preconceived notions that we have believed in. I suppose there you have got to get marks, not for anything else. Also, you should be having uh, intellectual flexibility, and that's something which is very, very important. And I think intellectual in agility is a kind of integrity that I expect that you must maintain there. Also, sense of perspective should not be lost. I keep telling you all the time. I mean, from where you are speaking, you should speak that much only. If they ask that you are the finance minister of India, how do you stop inflation? You don't know the condition in which the finance minister of India works. Don't lose your sense of perspective. Then also manage your anxiety, and I think that has to be told specifically as to where the source of anxiety that is coming. And then also be very clear about hypothetical questions, and then lot of small things that we have got. And shall I tell you one thing? Even if they're asking you a question, it doesn't mean that the answer exists for that. How can we kind of create employment for all the youth of the country? I mean, we want it, but then it is not that something we can do it instantaneously. So sometimes, even if there is no answer existing, the question is created. So you have to, in such situations, appreciate the complexity of the situation, and that is extremely vital. So appreciation of complexity at times is also important, and that should be definitely borne in mind. I think I would go on and on and on, but then if Mr. Mrinal can possibly share his ideas about this, and then we can get back again to this.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. So, just a brief background about myself. So, I have given 3 interviews. I got into Indian Revenue Service, Customs, and Indirect Taxes. I worked in GST department for 7 years almost, and then I resigned because some career plans changed, something changed. So right now, I'm working at my own level, but I got in touch with Khan sir, and he asked me if I'll be able to give some guidance or have some discussions rather with the young aspirants who are facing the interview in this 2025 year cycle. So I was glad to be a part of this, and basically I would take cues from what sir has recently told in his part, that आप अपने वीडियोस से सबसे ज्यादा सीखेंगे, पता है, because there are many times when you feel that you are speaking something good, but then actually you are not delivering it perfectly. Or the matter is not about being perfect or not, rather whether you are delivering it effectively or not is the most important thing. So हमको लगता है कि हाँ मैंने अच्छा बोला है, but once you record it and see yourself speaking, and you hear yourself speaking, then is the time when you realize कि देयर आर सम वर्ड्स, कुछ ऐसे वर्ड्स होंगे जो आपको खुद नहीं समझ आएंगे कि आपने क्या बोला है. कहीं कहीं पे प्रोनाउंसिएशन आपकी लगातार गलत होती जाएंगी, और कहीं कहीं पे यू कैन सी ऑन योर फेस इन द वीडियो रिकॉर्डिंग दैट हाउ टेंस वर यू, or you made some weird expressions which would not be looking very pleasant in front of the board. It is a very professional interview. Yes, it is a dialogue, it is a discussion, but you have to always maintain your professionalism. जैसे सर बता रहे थे कि आप जब रिकॉर्डिंग देखेंगे तब कई बार ऐसा लगेगा कि हम कई बार बोल देते हैं या यप. ये सब चीज़ें हम लोग इंटरव्यू में अवॉइड करेंगे बिकॉज दिस इज व्हाट वी यूज इन कॉमन लिंगो, बट दिस इज नॉट वेरी एडवाइजेबल फॉर द इंटरव्यू. लाइक आप किसी भी पर्सनालिटी का नाम लेते हैं, अगर आप जैसे बोलते हैं कि आप किसी को रेफर करते हैं, जस्ट लाइक दैट यू आर रेफरिंग अबाउट शशि थरूर, तो आप सीधा शशि थरूर नहीं बोलेंगे, आप मिस्टर थरूर बोलेंगे, मिस्टर शशि थरूर बोलेंगे, बिकॉज दैट पर्सन इज नॉट योर चाइल्डहुड फ्रेंड and you are delivering it in a professional manner. So seeing yourself, hearing yourself would give you a lot of cues कि आप कहाँ पे hit and miss कहाँ पे हो रहा है, because I have asked you something and then you give 2-minute monologue to create the background of it rather than hitting the answer directly. So yes, it is important to create a background of it, but only within the first 20 seconds, 35 seconds, 40 seconds, that's it. And then hit the question bullseye, because the more number of questions you'll be answering, the more number of perspectives you'll be showing to the interviewer about yourself. If you keep on speaking for long on a single answer, then there might be cases wherein the number of questions asked you is pretty less, and after you leave out from the interview door, you'll feel कि मुझसे तो कुछ पूछा ही नहीं, मैं तो बहुत पढ़ के गया था, बट कुछ ज़्यादा बात ही नहीं हुई, काश 10 मिनट कुछ ये लोग और पूछ लेते. सो ये वेरी मिनिमम टाइम 20 to 30 minutes के बीच में होता है. One of my interview just finished within 22 minutes, 23 minutes if I recall correctly, and it was like a flash kind of thing for me, that this is something that I had always waited for my life, and then within 22 minutes it is over. So it was tough to digest for me, but then this is how it goes. So sometimes interview might go on even beyond 30 minutes, but this is very rarely. Otherwise, they'll be able to judge you within 30 minutes. And since the weightage of interview marks is so much in your overall selection, it makes a hell lot of a difference. So everything that you do at the interview stage is very, very important. Like for me, in the first attempt that I gave, I was pretty confident before going in, but once I went in and the question started, I became totally underconfident. And that reflected very poorly in my marks, wherein I scored only in early 140s. And definitely that is the case, because of which I could not get selected in my first attempt. Next attempt, same story, but this time I was kind of very, very much more confident that इस पिछले वाले से बुरा और क्या ही होगा, and therefore I got a jump of around 30-35 marks, and ultimately got into the rank list, right? So the only difference that I see between the first and the second attempt is the way I presented myself. In the first attempt, I was very, very underconfident. I was overconscious of how I looked, of how I sat, of how I dressed. Was my tie not perfect or not? Was my coat buttoned or unbuttoned at the right time or not? While at the second stage or the second interview, I was more conscious about the facts that I have to engage in a very healthy discussion. And हमेशा जो आपका इंटरव्यू होगा, that would not always be fact based, because as I told, उनके पास facts है, they're not going to get the facts from you. They want to understand your personality. तो कई बार they would just engage in very, very common discussions with you. जैसे आपके कोई पुराने दोस्त हो, like if you have traveling in your hobby, they can just ask you कि आप कहाँ पे travel करना चाहते हैं. आप जो भी बोलेंगे उसके ऊपर counter questions आएंगे. So there is the one thing that I learned between my first and the second interview is that how you answer the first part of the question determines the counter questions or the follow up questions. तो जब भी आप कुछ बता रहे हैं, let's like they someone asked me in the interview, since I had photography as my hobby, that where would you like to do some kind of photography, which kind of a landscape. So I selected beaches. They asked me about which country. I selected Australia. I'll tell you the reason, because the moment I said Australia, the counter was, we also have beautiful beaches in Kerala. Why don't you go there? So I already had the thing in my mind while I was telling Australia, because I said that us time there was some Olympics or something going on in Gold Coast, Australia, and I was like, I have been seeing a lot of visuals of that place, and a lot of sports are being going on there. I'm getting to know the culture of that place because of so many news articles, interviews, and everything. So that's why somehow I wanted to go there right now. And since you've asked this question, I've been able to correlate these. So always think of a backstory. Maybe हमेशा नहीं आएगी, but try to answer in such a manner whenever these are open-ended questions. कि आप, if you are free in your free time, what do you want to do? So answer it in such a manner to think कि अगर मैं ये बोलूँगा तो उसके बाद क्या सवाल आएगा, and then थोड़ा सा real time engineering करनी होगी. This would not come directly on the hot seat. For this you have to prepare a lot, because आप क्या करेंगे, what I used to do within my friend circles, all of us who were giving the interviews, हम लोग आपस में random question पूछते थे खुद को, ठीक है? Because I was confident that someone asked me that what is the unemployment rate in India, what are the problems. I know all these points. I can tell them. I can personalize them, and I can score good. But my problem was whenever someone asked me how was your day, and I was like, अरे ये तो इसके लिए तो तैयारी ही नहीं करी. So only option was good. This is somewhat a conversation breaker. So how do you articulate it in a manner wherein you say that, okay, I'm very excited for the day. It's my first interview or second interview or what, and I'm honored to be speaking in front of this esteemed panel. So it's a very remarkable day for me in my life. So looking forward to it. So just थोड़ा सा आपने वो बोला, एक positive impact जाता है. So you need to create such anecdotes while you're preparing. कि अगर कोई random सवाल पूछा जाए, कुछ अच्छा पूछा जाए, out of the blue पूछा जाए, how would I respond to that? And जहाँ पे भी factual पूछा जाए, do remember that you have to definitely have some things on your tips, like जैसे इंडिया का अगर हम GDP numbers देखें, इंडिया के unemployment numbers देखें, नेशनल फैमिली हेल्थ सर्वे के हिसाब से अगर हम जो भी हेल्थ रिलेटेड इंडिकेटर्स होते हैं, इन्फेंट मोर्टेलिटी रेट, मैटरनल मोर्टेलिटी रेट, सेक्स रेशियो, एवरीथिंग, ये सब चीज़ें आपके टिप्स पे होनी चाहिए. बिकॉज व्हाट हैपेंस, many a times the questions that they will ask you you already have the fact जो आप लोग मेंस में लिख के आप लोग क्लियर करके आए हैं, but you have to articulate it for the interview as well. Interview में within few seconds you have to recollect and then you have to deliver it in a speech. So it is even a more tougher challenge, right, while as compared to recalling and writing it in the mains. So interview के लिए you have to have these things on your tips, and then you have to articulate it in a very very prompt manner. So 2-3 things that I would advise you people to do is, firstly look at issues or data at the macro level. जैसे आप शुरू करेंगे इंडिया से, तो इंडिया का इकोनॉमी का क्या चल रहा है, पॉपुलेशन क्या हो रहा है, ग्रोथ का ट्रेंड क्या रहा है, जीडीपी पर कैपिटा, बिकॉज सी यही सब जो टर्म्स है जीडीपी पर कैपिटा, दिस वुड लीड यू टू further kind of discussions. You open the door to conversations because you're not just saying GDP. They will tell you're talking about GDP per capita. So they might ask, why are you using per capita? What is the meaning? What is the significance? So you're leading the conversation. Be in that stage जहाँ पे क्वेश्चन एग्जामिनर से ज्यादा आप लीड करेंगे. इट इज पॉसिबल, नॉट ऑलवेज कंपल्सरी, बट इट इज पॉसिबल. बट देन सो कमिंग बैक टू द पॉइंट दैट आप मैक्रो लेवल से शुरू करिए. इंडिया के बारे में आप पढ़ रहे हैं, revise all those data which you already definitely have in your mains preparation. Do not worry about it. Then go down to your own district. Firstly go down to your own state, your district, your hometown, and then understand कि यही सब इकोनॉमी के क्या पैरामीटर्स है जो आपके लिए पर्सनलाइज्ड है. क्या एम्प्लॉयमेंट अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट है, क्या अपॉर्चुनिटीज है, हेल्थ की क्या कंडीशन है, एजुकेशन की क्या कंडीशन है. बिकॉज each and every word that you write in your DAF, you have to have one page notes for those. ठीक है, या आपने अगर कोई वर्ड इस्तेमाल करा है, कोई भी शहर का नाम अपने 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 उसमें लिखा है जहाँ पे आपका कॉलेज था या जहाँ पे आप रहे हैं, या कोई आपने वहाँ पे कंपटीशन जीता है जिसका आपने मेंशन करा है, यू हैव टू नो अबाउट the speciality or some parameters, at least 10 points about that town, that city. So because कई बार क्या होगा बोर्ड में, there are chances that you have mentioned about Jaipur, might be one of the board members is from Jaipur, so they ask you some questions or very very basic questions. ठीक है, they'll not go to ask you about the education rate or literacy rate in the district Jaipur perfectly. So आपको एक broad idea होना चाहिए that every word that you have used in your DAF, you should have one page in notes for those. So आप इंडिया पे गए, इंडिया से आप स्टेट पे आए, स्टेट से डिस्ट्रिक्ट पे आए, होम टाउन पे गए, and have these kind of continuous kind of data issues, opportunities for development. ये सब बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. आप जहाँ पे प्रॉब्लम्स देखेंगे, अपॉर्चुनिटीज फॉर डेवलपमेंट भी आप देखेंगे. यू हैव टू गिव अ ब्रॉड व्यू कि अगले 10 साल में आप क्या सोचते हैं कि आपके होम टाउन में क्या क्या अपॉर्चुनिटीज आ सकती है. अगले मीडियम टर्म ग्रोथ में, अगले 15 ईयर्स में, अगले 20 साल में आपको क्या लगता है कि कौन सी इंडस्ट्रीज यहाँ पे आ सकती है, यूथ को कैसे मोबिलाइज किया जा सकता है. ये सब चीजें अगर आप ऑलरेडी सोच के रखेंगे तो इंटरव्यू में बोलने के टाइम आपको एकदम एक थोड़ा सा आप कंफर्ट जोन में रहेंगे दैट ओके आई हैव सीन दिस टाइप ऑफ अ थिंग अर्लियर आल्सो, so let's not be very worried about it, let me handle that. Okay, apart from this, I believe that irrespective of your background, irrespective of your optional or anything, इंटरनेशनल रिलेशंस IR वाला जो पार्ट होता है वो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होता है, बिकॉज इट इज समथिंग जो न्यूज में लगातार चलता रहेगा. कहाँ पे वॉर्स हो रही है, कहाँ पे कोई टेंशन है, कहाँ पे कोई डेवलपमेंट हुआ है, ट्रम्प का टैरिफ वॉर्स हो गए, यूक्रेन रशिया का जो इशू है वो हो गया. So all these things might not be there in your DAP. You might not have mentioned US or Russia, but they still will ask you because ये सब चीजें न्यूज में बहुत चलती हैं. And from my own personal experience and by speaking with several of the other aspirants, I've seen that international affairs के बारे में बहुत ज़्यादा पूछा जाता है. Now, when they ask you about international affairs, they're not concerned about US or Russia per se. They're concerned that how that issue will impact India. So आप उस इशू के बारे में पढ़िए जो आपने ऑलरेडी मेंस में पढ़ा है. नाउ गेट इनटू अ लार्जर डेप्थ कि अगर इंडिया में आप इसको पर्सनलाइज वे में किसको बताएंगे, इसको समझाएंगे, हाउ वुड यू डू इट. ठीक है, सो देयर इज आल्सो वन थिंग कि अगर आपके कोई ऐसे दोस्त है जिनका यूपीएससी से कोई लेना देना नहीं है, दे डोंट नो एनीथिंग अबाउट इंटरनेशनल अफेयर्स एंड एनीथिंग, ट्राई टू एक्सप्लेन बिग टॉपिक्स टू देम विद इन 5 minutes एंड देखिए कि उनको कितना समझ आया. ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड फ्रॉम देम वंस यू टेल देम and get back from them कि उनको क्या समझ के आया है, what was the main point that they understood that I was trying to deliver, and maybe that would help you to judge that whether you're articulating it properly or not. Okay, I think those people who have a legal background, they have very good articulation powers as well, because उनके पास वो terminologies होती है जहाँ पे उसको या जो keywords होते हैं जो हम मेंस में यूज करते हैं वो उसको बहुत अच्छे से बोल भी पाते हैं. So all my lawyer friends have been scoring pretty well in interviews. So I think there is one indication that अगर हम थोड़े से keywords, terminologies, phraseologies अगर हम use कर सके while we speak, that adds professionalism and credence to credibility to our speech. So that would definitely be helpful. So this journey of interview is a very precious one. It is about knowing yourself. जितना मैंने अपने बारे में जाना था ड्यूरिंग द इंटरव्यू प्रिपरेशन, मे बी उससे पहले या उसके बाद मैंने कभी उतना नहीं जाना, बिकॉज आई ट्राई टू एक्सप्लोर अबाउट my hometown. I try to explore about my family lineage. I try to explore about all the things that affect me as a person. So on that, you have to create your notes, and once you do it, you will be actually at peace with your DAF preparation. And then whatever you have studied for mains, you already have that knowledge base. Just try to add it or spice it up with current affairs, and then just now focus. जैसे आप इंटरव्यू आंसर राइटिंग के टाइम आप फोकस करते थे कि दिन में 5 आंसर लिखने हैं, 2 आंसर लिखने हैं, 10 आंसर लिखने हैं, टेस्ट सीरीज करनी है. अब अपना फोकस पूरा शिफ्ट कर दीजिए ऑन दिस, दैट मुझे अब अपने को रिकॉर्ड करके अपने को सुनना है, मुझे मॉक्स देने हैं. मॉक्स के पीछे भी बहुत ज्यादा मत भागते रहिए कि 10 मॉक दे दिए, ठीक है, यू विल गेट ओवरबर्डन बाय इट. बट देन getting it personally recorded, hearing it personally, analyzing it, sharing it with your friends, your family, your mentors will give you a lot of insights. So I think this would help every aspirant a lot, whoever follows this, uh, speaking from my personal experience as well. And that is all from my side, sir. Back to you for the final remarks.
All right. I would just like to basically tell you that you're talking about you have to generate some conversation. I mean, I think that is very vital, and that's what they call it as second level, second order thinking or system thinking is all about. I remember one student. Let's not name him. Maybe I'll speak to him today. He was teaching, so he was asked this. The same advice was given to him also. So he was teaching, and he was asked the question, "What do you do?" He said, "Like if I said I teach." That's it. It stops there.
Okay.
He said, like, sir, I am a teacher. I teach future minds of India.
Mhm.
I think they said, oh, suddenly something gets noted. Oh, you teach
Mhm.
future minds of India. How many future minds you teach? He said, like, sir, when they asked this, I thought, like, if I say 30, there were 30 students, that will be one answer and flat. It stops there. So
Mhm.
he said, like, sir, there are 30 of them, and I remember their names also. And see
Mhm.
that how the whole thing really builds to the next level. And then when they ask that, oh, you remember their names? Tell me their names. And it's I closed my eyes and started counting. Sir, I'm counting from the first row, left to right, and then he started, and
Mhm.
everybody laughed. So this is how you can possibly build the conversation, rapport,
Right.
and that's where your articulation comes into play. So जब भी आप आंसर दे रहे हो, जैसे मृणाल सर बोल रहे थे, उसको रिकॉर्ड करके खुद से सुनो कि इसमें मैं और क्या अच्छा कर सकता था. Is it my best answer? Is it having a system thinking in that? Is it taking one step beyond this? Because I mean, taking interview right from morning till evening for them also is not an easy task. And some spark comes in some students like this, and they can make a very simple question very, very powerful. And most of the time, when you go around and then you give mock interviews and then you talk to people, they all are pinpointing your mistakes, your negativities, your weaknesses. And then ultimately what happens is that आपका सारा का सारा hygiene खराब हो जाता है, personality में लगता है अरे मेरे में तो ये भी कमी है, कोई मुझे बोलता है कि ऐसे करते, कोई बोलता है वैसे. Let me tell you one thing. This is one of the few occasions of your life when you have to back yourself unconditionally. You have reached this far without any of the advices that you are given at this stage. I suppose the only thing that you need to focus on is what is my strength. If at all you go to some place, give interview, be more interested in knowing what is my strength because you have to capitalize on the strength. Weaknesses तो सब में होती है. बहुत सारे बच्चे जिनको पता नहीं कितने सारे मार्क्स लेकर के आ जाते हैं 200 से बहुत ऊपर and then they have been told by this mock interview that ये आपका ये weakness ये what. And at KSG we emphasize in pinpointing your weakness strength. Not, of course, we are not blind about the weaknesses, but we all understand that there are some weaknesses here, but this is your strength. Capitalize this. And if you can watch your own videos and see that कि मेरे में अच्छा क्या है, and then just develop that, and I'm sure that will take you further in that. So this is what I think on this positive note, I like to stop it here. And if there is anything to be added, we'll be very happy at KSG. You have the details available. Uh, uh, and then you can always reach out to us. We'll be more than delighted to guide you and pinpoint your own strengths that you definitely capitalize. we don't get stopped by our weaknesses. We capitalize by actually harnessing all the positives and the strengths that we have got in the right direction and then getting a good result. We have been having in KSG a big, long list of people who have got 200 plus, and I think you can possibly do it, provided you have been identified in time कि मेरा strength क्या है और उसको कैसे capitalize करूँ. I'm sure, Mr. Mrinal, if you have anything to add to this, otherwise we will bid them bye and the best wishes. And we are around. Mr. Mrinal would definitely be happy to guide you because I've already requested him for some time. If you have got any personal query, you can always reach us. We'll be happy to organize a Zoom session or meeting of other formats, and then we'll have that addressed. Thank you very much, and thank you, Mr. Mrinal, specifically for giving your personal experience. And I'm so impressed by you telling that I got to know myself a little more by the process of interview, and that's a very big takeaway. You would all know yourself a little more by the process of interview, and you can thank UPSC for that. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.